Okay, hello guys, welcome back to another video. So today's topic is going to be, is it time to be concerned about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? So to start off this discussion, I'm gonna pass it on to Dash. So Dash, go for it.
Like I said last week, I, I mean, I've always been kind of concerned about the Tampa Bay Bucks. I just don't see that hype that everyone else sees. I didn't consider them a legitimate Super Bowl contender, and this game just backed up my theory. Like they literally lost 38-3, and they scored 38 points straight, and then Ryan Suckup got a field goal at the very end. Like that's not like no Super Bowl contender, no legitimate Super Bowl contender would ever do that. And I think everyone in the NFL fan base, everyone got so hyped because they got Antonio Brown, who hasn't played in a year, and they think, oh, they're automatically the Super Bowl winners. I don't think that. I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have so many problems, starting with the GOAT, Tom Brady. You look at the Tampa Bay Twitter, and they're all saying that they don't want Tom Brady because he's a washed system QB. And if it's the Tampa Bay Bucks fan base that's saying that, you start to realize, well, maybe he is the problem. Like, it's kind of evident just by the fact that he has a superstar wide receiver in Mike Evans. Every other team would die to have a wide receiver like Mike Evans. And he got zero receptions. Granted, he's against Marshawn Lattimore. But do you hear a lot from Rob Gronkowski or Chris Godwin or Antonio Brown? No. This team isn't ready to take that next step because of Tom Brady. And I also think that this team was never able to take that next step because they have too much drama. They're going to have drama when Mike Evans or Chris Godwin or Antonio Brown or Rob Gronkowski, granted Rob Gronkowski is more of a selfless player, but they all start complaining because yes, Bruce Arians says that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin's okay with bringing in Antonio Brown, but that's just not going to work. That's not going to work, and we could see this by losing 38-3 to the New Orleans Saints, who I don't even consider a legitimate Super Bowl contender too. I think the Packers are better than them. Like, if you're going to lose convincingly. Or no, don't lose convincingly. Like the Tampa Bay Bucks only beat the 1-7 New York Giants by 2 points. And then they go and lose by 35. In no way is that a Super Bowl contender, and in everyone else's eyes and every fan base's eyes, that's worrisome. I don't think it's worrisome because I never had high expectations for them.
So, I really don't know because, I was super high on the Bucks, but they've been just so inconsistent. So, I think you can be concerned, but ultimately, I think they'll be fine because, I don't know, I trust Tom Brady too much. He has too much experience to let them, get out of shape because we know they have the talent. It's about putting it together. And I think come playoff time and everything, they're going to be put together. And, I don't know why. I don't really think Tom Brady is the problem. Look at where they were last year with Jameis. Is they're not a clear improvement? I would think so. And he looked. Sorry.
But the Buccaneers weren't a Super Bowl contender last year. Now they brought in Tom Brady, and people expect a Super Bowl out of him. But he's older. He's regressed, even with all this talent. And that's what the problem is. If they had a better quarterback, they'd be my odds to win.
There's not many quarterbacks they could have. Tom Brady was probably the best option they could have brought in. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I just trust Tom Brady. I think he'll have them good by playoff time because he looked really bad against New Orleans. But these division games, I know getting blown out like that isn't looking good. But these division games are always scrappy and they're kind of weird. They really produce mixed results. So I don't really think this is I think you need to see more. I want to see how they end the year. I want to see how Antonio Brown does before I really get concerned because like I said, they have the talent, they have the defense and everything, and they have the GOAT leading them. So I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah, so in my opinion, like this could be a little bit of an overreaction, but I do think it's time to be concerned. So I'm kind of like on the same path as Dash here, right? Because they only beat the Giants by 2 points, and that could have easily been a loss, right? Daniel Jones missed a lot of wide open throws to Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard. Like that could have easily been a 30-point performance from the Giants, and a game that the Buccaneers lost, right? So I mean, they're not beating the Giants convincingly. They just got blown out by the Saints. So a team that Road and I thought were legit contenders, and a team that I thought had no holes just a week or two ago, the Giants exposed the holes. The Saints clearly saw the holes. They exposed them even further. So now the rest of the league knows that both the offense and the defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has some holes. So I think you definitely have to be concerned. But if you are the Buccaneers, I think you can see this as a positive that it happened kind of relatively early before the playoffs, right? Because the playoffs are still, another, what, 7, 8 weeks away. So this happened relatively early to the playoffs. So if you're able to watch the film, understand the holes, and you're able to fix them, which I believe that Tom Brady can fix on the offensive side, and I trust Todd Bowles, who's a great defensive-minded coach, can do it on the defensive side, so they can fix those holes. But definitely a team that I thought was a legit contender definitely has a lot of holes on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. But once again, it's also just 2 games, and maybe they turn it around. Maybe this is just a fluke on part of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Because teams do go through bad stretches. It's not something that we've never seen before. And I also don't think it's fair to count Tom Brady out. Like, this is a guy that came back down 28-3 in a Super Bowl game. So I don't think it's fair to count him out. I don't think it's fair to count the team out after 2 games. But I think it's definitely fair to be concerned about this team after looking at their last 2 games.
I want to bring something up because Shivam and I both mentioned it. So I remember seeing after the Tampa Bay Bucks scrapped a victory in MetLife that a lot of people were saying, well, they simply were just preparing for this Saints game, which was a week and a half away, or not even a week and a half. They've been preparing it that week prior to the Giants game for the Saints game, which was in 2 weeks. And then I see, okay, yeah, sure, that might have been the reason why the Giants were able to stay into it. But you would think if they spent 2 weeks looking and researching Drew Brees, who hasn't been the best quarterback that we all know and love, and we see the Saints, because the Saints were, in many people's eyes, on the decline, and now you see that they can win by 35 points against a team who has been preparing for them for 2 weeks. What more could the Bucs have done to prepare for this game? And then they just got completely walloped. And yes, you can argue that Michael Thomas played an impact, but Michael Thomas did not play like most of us know Michael Thomas as. So what went wrong in the Bucs side? And I think that is just a question that I see as Tom Brady's fault. I see, well, this game was the defense's fault as well. But if the Bucs can't win or even lose by a smaller margin to a team that they've been preparing for 2 weeks for, what hope do they have?
I mean, I don't. Then why are you not concerned about Green Bay or something when they lost super bad to Tampa? I think fluke game. I'm not saying this is a complete fluke. There were some definite holes in the Bucs, but weird games do happen. You saw the Chiefs last year. They put up 14 points against the Colts, who were not that good last year. Weird stuff happens in the regular season. So I don't think if we see this repeatedly, next week too, they lose pretty bad. Yeah, then I think it's a problem. But I wouldn't have red flags just yet.
But yes, I understand that flukes happen, but I really consider this 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks they've had flukes. Because you don't win. When you're a legitimate Super Bowl contender, how much do you think the Chiefs would beat the Giants by? I'd say a lot more than 2 points.
A lot.
The Packers,
I mean,
they had fluke games, but they've also beaten the Saints. They've beaten the Texans. They've beaten an injury-prone 49ers. They have those games to show themselves. But The Bucks lost to the Saints. They lost the Saints twice. I don't think they've proven enough, and they only have big names like Rob Gronkowski, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, and Tom Brady. And this is the reason why people think that they're a legitimate Super Bowl contender that could beat the Packers in playoffs with Aaron Rodgers, who doesn't throw 2 picks normally, or the Chiefs.